Hi, I'm Susanna with Hypnosis Haven, and today I have a hypno story for you. This is a hypno story that has to do with pregnancy and childbirth. Back in 2012, I had my son using hypnosis. At least I thought I was using hypnosis. You see, this is one of those moments where you don't want to find out that your parachute isn't working, basically. That's what happened. I went to go see a hypnotherapist during my pregnancy because I had read an article that said to see a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist to make sure that you didn't have any traumas around your own personal birth that could resurface as you give birth naturally. I knew I wanted to do a natural birth at home, so I wanted to make sure all my bases were covered and that I was not going to have any sort of memories or traumas from my own personal childbirth coming up during my birth, the birth of my son. My mom had told me that she'd been in labor for 2 days and that she had to have labor induced for me to come out because apparently she was just in labor and the water wasn't breaking. So I didn't want to have that trauma come back up during my process here in 2012. So I went to see a hypnotist and she told me, "Oh, don't worry, you'll give birth with grace and ease." I didn't see her for hypnosis with birth. I saw her to make sure that I wasn't going to have any traumas. So I can excuse that. However, I didn't mention to her at the end of our session that I wanted to give birth using hypnosis, and she did what's called an anchoring technique in NLP. And that's when they touch you, when there's a gentle touch with a suggestion. And she said, "Don't worry, you'll give birth with grace and ease." So there I was, months later, trying to give birth with grace and ease. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. I can't even begin to tell the story without laughing because all I can see in my mind is the vision of me walking back and forth, walking around, holding my belly, waiting for it to kick in, realizing it's not happening. I wanted to sit down. I couldn't sit down. I wanted to stand. I wanted to move. I didn't want to move. I wanted to be in the shower. I mean, oh my gosh, there was just so many things happening and I was not prepared. What a time to find out that you're not in hypnosis, right? That you weren't hypnotized, that it didn't work. So that was 2012. I thought I was hypnotized and I wasn't. Fast forward to 2015, I enrolled for Hypnosis Motivation Institute to become a hypnotherapist. And I graduated in 2016. During that time, I learned about childbirth and hypnosis. And then I took the official course in 2017 when I was pregnant with my daughter. During that time, I learned hypnosis. I mean, professionally, I was practicing hypnosis and I knew hypnosis for myself. And I didn't use hypnosis like Hypnobirth and the Hypno Babies and those type of programs for hypnosis in birth and labor. What I did was my approach was handling the role of motherhood and using hypnosis to allow it to happen, to be more accepting, to be more playful, to be more of the mom that I wanted to be. I tend to be more career focused than maternal. So I needed to help myself come to terms with that and to be more mom and less career. I mean, I needed a balance and I struggled with that, honestly. So I used hypnosis to help me come to terms with where I was in my life and what I needed to do, where I needed to be, and to release the judgment, to release the feelings, the things that I was putting on myself. So I used hypnosis for that. When it came time to give birth, I was able to use hypnosis then because I already know hypnosis. I was able to use hypnosis when my water broke, and I was able to count myself down from 5 to 0 and just visualize a flower blooming and go back to sleep. So I rode through the contractions all night long, very differently than I did back in 2012 when I was thinking I was under hypnosis. And I was able to, I followed the midwife's instructions and I waited until my contractions were, so many minutes apart. And in that time, it was all night because my water broke around 10:30. My daughter wasn't born until about 7 in the morning. So all night long, I slept. I slept and I listened to myself. I, counted myself down from 5 down to 0, snapped my fingers, and bloom, back to sleep. It was fantastic. When it came time to give birth, that was the labor. When it came time to give birth, my fantastic husband there was patting my hand and telling me to relax. I do not like to be told to relax. I do not like to be told to relax when I am giving birth. You cannot relax when there is a baby being born, when a baby is coming out. You just can't relax. I'm sorry. That is not the word for me. It might be for other moms. It is not for me. So I had to stop everything. I stopped everything, everyone. Nobody touched me. Everybody stop. I don't want to sound everything. Shh. And I looked at my husband and I said, don't tell me to relax. Tell me, allow. Let's try allow. So we changed the verbiage and he said, allow. Just allow, Susanna. And petting my hand, allow. And I guess that could have been a good anchor. I could have set that up. But I did the hypnosis and birth by myself when I was practicing it for weeks, because the way the schedules were, just the way our lives were, he was not able to do it when I was doing it. And I needed it. I guess I didn't need it. I don't know. I did it just fine. It was more about words than the actual physical part for me. And I guess that has to do with suggestibility types also, because some people are more affected by physical things and others are more affected by words. So for me, it's words. And the word allow did it for me. We changed the word to allow and my daughter flew right out. No problems there. Fast forward 21 months later, and there I am giving birth to my second daughter, now even more experienced in hypnosis. So this time when my water broke and we called the midwife, and same thing, call me when your contractions are X amount of minutes apart. I went in, maybe around 10, 11. I don't know. It's always at bedtime that my kids would come. It's always at bedtime. Maybe that was an indication that I was just going to forever struggle at bedtime with my kids. Well, I shouldn't say forever, but perpetually. So I was there trying to give birth. Not yet. I was in labor still at home. And while I was there at home, I was counting myself down from 5 to 0. And for my first daughter, I was visualizing gardenias. For my second daughter, it was lavender. And I used lavender blossoms to help. So I used aromatherapy this time. And I used that, counted myself down, 5 down to 0, snapped my fingers, took a whiff of the lavender blossoms, and went back to sleep. I did that for most of the night until I decided to challenge myself and let's see if I can do this from 3 down to 0, because it's taking too long to count from 5 down to 0. So I did. From 3, 2, 1, 0, snap my fingers, bloom, release, relax, go back to sleep. And I did that, and then I challenged myself even more, because boy, do I love to challenge myself when things are already challenging enough. And it just became a matter of take a deep breath, snap your fingers, smell the lavender blossoms, and go back to sleep. And that's what I did. So when it came time to actually give birth and we went to the midwife center, I was there. Like, oh boy, you really waited. And I went into the tub. I didn't even need my husband in the room this time. He was in the other room with our daughter. My son was there because he was, he knew that this was a very special time. So he put his Mickey's Clubhouse on pause and came to watch. And he was there for it. And, I was just chatting with the midwives. It was just a fantastic time. I was listening to a recording that I had prepared that would help me get to my place mentally and spiritually, to help me get to where I needed to be to receive my daughter. And sure enough, I just counted myself down from 5 down to 0, relax, allow. I was chanting, allow, mama, mama, allow. That was it this time. And my daughter came out with grace and ease. And so that was it. I was able to give birth 2 times, knowing I was hypnotized, and the other time not being hypnotized, but thinking that I was hypnotized. So there is a difference. I am aware of the differences, and I am able to help mothers who need help with hypnosis for childbirth. I am not a hypnobirth practitioner or a hypnobaby practitioner. I'm a hypnotherapist who has had the experiences of thinking they're hypnotized and then knowing they're hypnotized when it comes to giving birth. I use therapeutic imagery, hypnosis, and hypnotherapy to help my clients reach the levels of comfort, calmness, and relaxation that they need to allow for the babies to be born. If you have any questions and you want to contact me or schedule a consultation, visit my website, hypnosis-haven.com, and you can schedule a consultation there or send me an email directly if you have other questions that you just want to answer through email. I look forward to hearing from you, and thanks again for listening and watching my videos. Bye.